Well, morning zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? 'Cause I'm not back in bed sleeping. That's the problem. And I got issues to talk about. Right now, the time index is 1:20 in the morning, West Coast time, Saturday. It is the 27th of July, 2024. We were John C. Roseman, California, pissed off as hell. Tired as hell. I like dealing with my mother, but sometimes she can be so frightened of what's happening. If she only knew the shit we knew, she'd be absolutely terrified worse. Independents are still struggling with news stories. The Young Turks are getting onto a story that's already been months old already, and still about to affect a hell of a lot of people before the new term begins. They're worried about Christian Sharia law being established by red state school superintendents out there, state superintendents, who are deciding that Christian Sharia law is above everything else, including the Constitution of the United States. By sliding the Bible into curriculum, they're trying to make it into a historical document, and therefore it ought to be taught. Nothing else, just that. But put it into a historical basis and a context. It's one thing if you're going to college and you're using that as a basis for other things, but they think it's a basis for the American justice system and American law and Constitution. Everything else revolves around the Bible. They basically want to brainwash people. So court cases are going to have to be held on this one to determine whether or not the Bible is going to be acceptable as a historical, maybe hysterical, document that was part of the U.S. Constitution. It should be taught to K through 12. Mandatory. Even if it means that you are have a different faith, a different religion, different belief, if any. And is this going to be needed or not? Or how about having the Ten Commandments blatantly put into classrooms and be taught? Daylight and the dollar short with the independents on this one. The other thing that's hitting more and more hard is the SCOTUS ruling. It's going to be affecting these independents and everybody else harshly. People have said it before for a long while, but everybody else, including the independents and corporates, missed out entirely. NIMBY. So now we got NIMBY all over the country. Case in point, we got a woman out in San Francisco trying to do a right human thing, but trying to be trying to help these people to survive the hot heat by giving them water, not little bottles of water. We're talking about filling up tanks that people can actually use to beat the heat, to actually cook, shower, bathe, be decent. But no, because of the SCOTUS ruling has screwed up everything, we have treated the homeless people like they're vermin and need to be put off the streets. Either to get shelter with a brick and mortar or else they're off the streets, period. They cannot be on the streets. They cannot be anywhere except in brick and mortar. And if have to, we can cite them, fine them, lastly incarcerate them. Where are they going to get the room? Where are they going to get the room? San Francisco, a lady who's got degrees, who's got means, method, opportunity to be a decent human being. goes around in a truck with a huge 500-600 gallon of water that's potable, usable, drinkable. Fills up tanks that homeless people use, either RVs or other places that they can have storage for the potable. They've got it. Free of charge, no problem. And then the heat is talking about a human being helping another human being. And that's some kind of bureaucratic numbnuts out there who can't stand seeing a human being treating another human being, has to threaten the law on them. You can't do that. You're not allowed. How dare you treat the homeless people like humans. You can't do that. It's against the law. Eh. Well, the independents talk about this more and more. One of these here days, they're going to be on the damn streets. Despite the fact they may have quote-unquote job skills, they'll find themselves on the street. Doesn't matter who and what they are. They'll find themselves on the streets. No place to live. Nobody to give them a shelter or a bed. You may get some hot food, but that's about it, but nothing else to cover your head. And you won't be allowed to camp or park anywhere. Not on private? Well, if you are, well, good luck on that one if somebody else will allow you to do so. But on the streets, on the sidewalks, in the parks, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to live anywhere. You're not even allowed to have potable water. How dare you? You're being treated as human beings. You're not human beings. You're nothing. And so always find these fine and dandy ideas of having a resource center. Let's build another resource center. Fuck that. Give me some damn buildings so we can put homeless people in so they can live for a change. Even for a short time. Just treat them as human beings until they can get on their damn feet. The problem is the homeless shelters they have are not safe enough. People steal. People hurt other people to get other things. Items go missing. People get hurt. They don't feel comfortable and safe in the hot days like these that we're having. You can't be in the shelters during the daytime, but at nighttime, you're lucky enough to get a bed. The rest of the time, you're out there trying on the streets, defying the law, trying to live and survive. Why don't the independents ever talk about that shit? Why don't they ever go out there and talk to the homeless people or camp out there overnight and see how they're affected by it? Pisses me off when they don't. They'll bitch and gripe about the have and have-nots, but they've never been a have-not. They've never gone through the process of being a have-not. I've talked about it. I've been through it myself. See, I know what it's like to live on a public assistance for most of your life. I know what it's like to be on and off the damn system, trying to fight for survival, for a job, and then holding on to the job, no matter how miserable the son of a bitch is, but you got money coming in, hopefully enough to keep a roof over the head, and maybe get the bills paid so you can have lights, and you get water, you get gas. God forbid you actually go out there and get some food to cook with, or to eat. Maybe stuff to use to cook them with. Maybe depend on someone else's human kindness if you're lucky enough to get, things to use so you can live and survive. Or how about something to sleep on? Donated beds would work, mattresses. The thing is, I'd like to pay it back forward. I'd like to pay it forward. Help another person if possible. Yeah, you may get backstabbed in the process, but at least they're trying to pay it forward, trying to do something nice, trying to be human. But other people don't want you to be human. Oh, hell no. You can't be human. Now we got a Supreme Court says you can't be human. Court case out in Oregon screwed things up left and right because they got sick and tired of the homeless people on the streets, and therefore started incarcerating and jailing them up. besides finding a living crap out of them, which they didn't have the money for, throw them in jail. Or give them the threat of God on that one. Homeless advocates fought tooth and nail in the courts, appealing all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, no, homeless people don't have any rights. They made it loud and clear. The conservatives said, fuck you. Can't live on the city streets anywhere. They're not allowed. But the locals are going to have to make that kind of determination. You're just not allowed to live on anywhere. You're homeless. NIMBY. Hell, you can't even go to a national forest and camp out without having a day pass or a night or a week pass. And because of the fire seasons right now, that's going to be almost off limits right there because we got too many fires going on. Can't go into city parks because city parks are supposed to be public landscapes. You can't live in there, despite the fact that maybe at nighttime you'll need to. Well, no, don't worry about during the daytime when you step into things that are not supposed to be there. Some people can't get access to waste areas because there's no access to them. There's no places for them over there. There used to be programs where you could put in a machine that could be serviceable or self-servicing. Go in there, get your stuff done. Of course, you got to put in a token or something in there, if you add one, or a quarter, and be able to use the facility. You know, shower, shave, use the toilet. No, they tried experimental units like that past 20 or 30 years. I've heard about those robotic places. I don't know, the programs fell out of style. Maybe it fell out of public funding for that. We could have used more of those machines out there. Hell, even the anti-gumps would have been better just for basic human needs. But then again, you would need a company to keep dealing with that on a constant basis. Out in Antelope Valley in Lancaster, there's a park. Someone kept trying to use that as a home for the restroom. Next day, it's so damn full of crap, it's not even funny. Literally. They had to keep cleaning the places down that they would have to be forced to lock the place up. Somehow law gets picked and then it's still being used by a homeless person because they are using it for a home. They still got access to a toilet and access to a sink that they can wash up. And it still looks like crap afterwards. And other people wanted to use that during the daytime. People would stay away from places like that. Go to other private places that actually have restrooms, but then they would have to utilize services in there in order to use the restrooms. That's how it works for the that's where it works for fast food places and other places. As long as you got business there, you can use the restroom, and if not, screw it. Gas stations would also have to have that same situation running. I come across a few gas stations like let's say if I was not homeless, but I am traveling. If you're going to have business within that rest area, you got to show you that you got business in the rest area. Rest area would be like a 24/7 gas station. Probably would serve coffee to travelers, weary travelers, but they would also have a restroom available. Sorry for the night workers. Have to clean the place up on a constant basis. But in order for you to feel like you want to use the place, you have to get something off the shelves. A couple of cookies for about $1 or less. Cookies will go far. You can afford it. That and a little glass of milk or something like that. That's your food source right there for about an hour, or maybe more than that if you stretch it out a bit. There have been times I had to go to a county facility just to take care of snafus of paperwork that wasn't turned in time, and then I would have to go to a gas station close to a county facility, and in order to utilize it, I'd have to buy something. So I'd get me a couple of cookies. That would give me an excuse to use the bathroom. That way, I'm able to use it uh, and not feel guilty or tossed out. Even if the homeless person can afford a couple of cookies, that's better than nothing. Because then they'd be able to get into a restaurant and actually in the restroom and use it. Private places that actually have restrooms, and we're talking about restaurants, you would have to buy something over there to access the restrooms. That's how it works. Other than that, you're not allowed. Oh, if you happen to go to public transportation, like trains, you would have to beg, borrow, and plead to get a token or something like that to get a new restroom. And then be given scrutiny sometimes by security, whether or not if it was legitimate or not, and if he actually didn't destroy the place. It's not that easy. Feeling guilty as hell, especially when you need to use a restroom. My brother sometimes would have to travel from a bus stop to home, and in between there was a restroom that he'd use on some occasions. Of course, with the cell phone he actually had, he was actually able to get help. Me. Bring stuff necessary with him, plus garbage bags just in case. Pack our own trash out of there. Just so we didn't leave the place in a mess. But we felt like we were homeless doing stuff like that. Even though we had this apartment. Rent was paid, bills were paid, and we had some food in the house, but we had to get food giveaways. But I felt like a transient. Hell, I feel like a homeless bum. Going in and helping out my brother when he needed help the most. Caregivers does that, you know. Caregiver is not supposed to feel like a homeless bum. Caregiver is supposed to feel like he's on top of the world, or basically he's got a major job to do. Screw everybody. Even if it means I have to go to a county facility just to get the necessities or paperwork taken care of. And yet not feel like a damn bum on the street. See, the one thing I noticed that people don't retain, or they're trying to retain, is human dignity, decency. No, because those who actually have don't do that to people who have not. And the independents who keep bitching and griping about our damn politicians who are threatening things left and right. I'm like, you guys don't know what survival is until you've been on the fucking streets. Then tell me about it. Worry about mass education systems. Because people don't do shit about it. And if they are trying to do shit, well, maybe they're not doing enough, or maybe they're just not giving a shit to do anything about it. You have a state superintendent telling you that you have to abide by these rules, otherwise you don't have a job in the school system, of any school system. You're tossed out. Has to be this way. We have to be re-educating people in this particular form or fashion. We have to get rid of certain books that are not suitable under one particular viewpoint. But no, we have to make a point about that one, don't we? Or let alone a wishy-washy vice president candidate pick who seems to be having more mental issues than anything else. And the independents are picking on him like crazy. I don't know who's worse being the bully. The independents, corporate media, or their intended victims. Oh, fucking morons. So I wouldn't care if this one lunatic is talking about cat ladies. If they don't have kids, they're not supposed to be of anything. You know what I would tell certain candidates like that who would like to push ideology around? Flip them the bird. Say, come talk to me about it. Let's talk about your major malfunctions, asshole. I worry more about the people in the streets being treated as subhumans than I worry about you, asshole. Unless you've been out there, you don't give a shit. You're just bunging into me shit. So, yeah, I don't have any sympathy or empathy for you assholes. Unless you've already walked the damn streets and you've already been out there, then tell me about it. Then tell me about it. You want God to solve everything for you. God can't do everything. He's got to have people down here to do the damn job. And you ever figure this shit out? Dumb fuck. So yeah, I got issues this morning about it. I get pissed off about a lady trying to do the right thing or trying to do a human thing, caring for other people by giving them water. For those who are dependent upon water, not just a single serving plastic bottle that's getting chemicals leached into the damn thing. I'm talking about treated potable water and filling up other tanks that you actually use to make you feel like a decent human being one way or another. That's what I get pissed off about. I get pissed off about the independents with their noses stuck on high saying, well, we got to talk about this guy. We got to talk about this guy. I'm like, you know, the voters are going to take they're going to take the Bibles and going to pop them upside the guy's head and then tell him, now how do you like being treated, schmuck? You're pushing this kind of crap down people's throats when they need programs to learn. One of the independents I was listening to, and I kind of agreed a bit, that we should have had those kind of programs like we had a long time ago, back in the 70s and 80s when I went through junior high and high school. When we actually did have shop, we did have music, we had metal, we had vocations to learn about. Going through a junior high Yale Unified School District back in the late 70s and early 80s. Yeah, I know what it was like going into a shop class, learning how to use wood with your hands, use metal, do plastics. I wasn't good at, but I was taught. I didn't have the knack or aptitude for building, except give me Lego pieces, and I was content with that one. Shit, I could build shit with Lego. So basically, I had construction capabilities. I knew what I wanted just instinctively. Having it in front of my mind is a different thing altogether. But yeah, I barely passed the classes. I made things in shop classes in junior high. One of them I still have these days. I had a cutting board, made a cutting board, and throughout the years lost a cutting board. I had a napkin holder I made. I made it for Ma. And then later on, I lost the damn thing. It was still a usable item. I had a candle holder made out of shop class. I had a tiki god I made just to, look like something out of Polynesian or something like that. Simple. Still have it. Buried around here somewhere, but I still have it. It was something I made with my hands. I held on to like crazy. Plastic. I've got a scoop I made a long time ago. Still have it somewhere. I still have it saved. So yeah, I know what it's like to build stuff in school. I know what it's like to learn other things besides reading, writing, and arithmetic. How to be a consumer shopper. How to read stuff, how to write stuff. Singing, forget it. Maybe other people could. They could play band instruments. Be part of a county-wide band. And if you're lucky enough, be in the Rose Parade. Maybe one or two students will be a representative out of your school for that one. Rose Parade. How about getting national coverage over that one? That would have been something in our cap right there. For learning about the Bible in school, you didn't do that. Oh, we'd hear about Mao's Little Red Book. We heard about that crap. We just never read the damn shit. We heard about it, read about it, but we never saw the damn thing. Nor did we see anything concerning about Mein Kampf in our classrooms. But it was probably stuck in the library somewhere. We just never read the damn shit, that's all. Well, we read about 1984. We read about Animal Farm. Fahrenheit 451. We read stuff like that. We even had stuff like that in the colleges. Actually, besides the colleges, also the K through 12 libraries. You used to have books concerning about a guy named Sikorsky. Invented different forms of helicopter. Or read about Sea Lab that the United States Navy had done back in the 60s. During the time when they're trying to put a spam in a can, pop them up in space and see if the spam lasts long enough. They put spam in a can down below the sea and see if it lasted long enough for oceanography. Didn't last too long, maybe about 1 or 2 years, and maybe about 3 versions. But they learned something. I don't know what the hell they learned, but they learned something about it. But that's what I read about in the books. A long time ago. These days, I don't know what the hell they did in the schools. I don't know why they cut back on funding left and right. Teacher salaries got that bad, or they couldn't pull it in because the problem with the public education system during those days was each school had to be accountable for every student. They get money out of the heads they still retained. And they kept retaining them every single day, every single week, every single month. They kept track of this shit. That was kept the money coming in from the state in order to keep the schools and the districts funded. But if they lost people, they lost money. That's how it worked. I don't know if it still works that way or not. But they would also have approved curriculum of what they needed to learn and what they couldn't. Some of the books I had were about 10, 15 years old. And they looked at 2. Falling to pieces, sometimes stapled or duct taped. You'd be surprised. And books written up like crazy, but we still learned out of the damn things. Passed the classes. Here's your biology class. Books about this thick, marked up like crazy, taped up. But still, it was usable. Gave you basic sciences unless we had something new to add to it, which we didn't. So we just learned this basic shit. You gotta learn more advanced stuff, you go to colleges. At least we give you basic stuff to learn about. Cellular mitosis. Learn about microscopic little animals. Learn about plants. Learned about animal behaviors. I mean, this stuff we had to learn in school. As if we already had enough animal behaviors trying to beat the shit out of each other in class and out of class. Oh yeah, don't touch certain areas of schools that are declared off limits to the plebes. beaten up, put in garbage cans, and then everybody deny everything. Yeah, welcome to my world growing up as a kid during those days. I can laugh about it, but you gotta try being part of that damn thing. But how does that help the educational system? That was part of the educational system. Hard being a kid during those days, but harder being an adult trying to teach a kid or even raise a kid in those days. But now we get to indoctrinate kids. Tell them that the Bible was essential for American politics. We did have colonies start up before they had the official colonies happen. They were trying to do their own communities, trying to live on their own guidelines. And yes, some of them did have strict religious beliefs. A few of them didn't. We had brought over our own death and disease of our own biology, our own biological makeup. We had immune to, we were immune to smallpox. We didn't realize we were going to be devastating to Native Americans. We actually brought over the gun, scared the hell out of people left and right. We used them as a fear weapon, trade weapon, and then they decided at one point or another in time when they got pissed off at us enough, used it against us. So naturally we had to rebel and go out against them, thinking we're righteous about it. We're going to teach them Christianity. We're going to kill them in the process. Wipe out the culture one way or another. We damn right did. And then we tried to reinvent their culture, which we did. People keep forgetting history. They don't want to remember history. They don't want to know history, except for their own stories that they make up and think it is history. How does the Bible work in the American justice system? How does the Ten Commandments work in the justice system if it's not recognized and broken so many damn times there's no way to tell whether or not it's going to be usable in the court of law or not? And is it recognizable in the court of law? Because there are so many court cases bringing in that breaks the law every single time. We want to make sure that people are following a Christian method while killing and murdering and lying and cheating and thieving on people left and right. We do what Jesus did, and we use that excuse. Of course, if those are following different religion aspects, we tell them, well, we blame other people for your own stupidity. You're foreign born. You don't know what being Christian is all about. Give me a break. Give me a break. And those are trying to do something that's similar to a Christian aspect. They're trying to be a decent human being by delivering just water to people who need it the most, and get to be torn apart left and right, ridiculed, threatened jail, threatened fines, threatened to freedom because of humanity, of being a human being. You want to talk to me about the George Soroses out there, the mythical dark places people go to that are ruling everything. We got to worry about the dark web and everything else like that. Give me a frickin' break with the damn head games. You want to talk about real humanity, human crisis, you look to the homeless. You ask each and every one of them why they're out there. And then, if you want to be a real fucking human being about it, why don't you try to help them? Instead of just getting a broom and start brushing them aside and say, not in my backyard. You're leaving your shit literally all over the damn place. You don't clean up after yourselves. You're so filthy and disgusting at this point. But you're not cleaning up in my backyard. You're not cleaning up anywhere else I have. But even if you are part of a church, how far will a church be allowed to go without being harangued by the NIMBYs? Even on private property. There are places out there that don't even allow churches to help the homeless because it's NIMBY time. And you wonder how come I'm pissed off this evening? Coming across these stories of death, of human misery. We hear about the international shit, but the personal local shit we don't give a flying fuck about. We don't. I'm not puffing up the chest on this one. I tried one time or two to help the homeless when I could. It's one thing delivering sandwiches to another person. Have them be grateful through their eyes because that's the only food that they have. And I've also had other people that when they depended upon you so much, when you said no, they disappeared and never was seen again. I've also had somebody coming over to the house, try to get recovery. Been in the program, but had a reputation of using up places wherever they go. They bounce from place to place and don't give a shit about it. Until you see the worst of them. When you don't even recognize them and they don't even recognize you. Not to mention you're not even in a position to help them out. I mean, that happened to me a while ago. I was the one that couldn't help out the person. And I was the one that got burned. And I remembered. But then again, I kept thinking about the place I have right now. And I couldn't have one person laying on the damn couch without getting invaded by the damn bugs I still have here. Being a human being is a fucking tough job. Of caring a lot about people. Even simple acts of kindness. A little bit of respect, a little bit of dignity. It scares the hell out of me that you have abundance but you're feeling powerless over it. Terrified. I think that's the part of the problem right there being the NIMBY. Not being the receiving end, but the sending end. Afraid to lose something of yourself, something of, or something undefinable that would make you turn into a human being to care about somebody else. And in doing so, endangering yourself in the process, because you think your own livelihood, your own worth, everything else about you is about to change, either for the good or for the worse. Yeah. Hard lessons to learn. How far do you go regarding human kindness? Where's the limit? You see the suffering and needing like crazy. And you still have to help. And the problem is you look at the meager sources and you have to keep stretching them out until there's nothing left and there's still more hands out there. You start saying no and then they disappear. Or even worse is when you're there and you just got your hands sticking and pleading and they say there's no room at the end. There's nothing here I can do or give you. And then you go out scrambling for survival after that. This is being alive and being him was the easiest damn thing in the world to do or be. Not in my book, not in my backyard.